All right, so it is 1:05. We're going to go ahead and get started with our first training for the City of Miami's BE305 program. My name is Reynaldo Rodriguez, and I'm the program manager for the BE305 program. Um, I'm also joined by our representatives from Touchstone IQ, which have been assisting us with the implementation of this program, as well as Daniel Hernandez, who is going to be taking over for the B305 program from the building department. So I will dive right in. Thank you to everyone for joining. Like I mentioned, this is our first training. We're going to be having these trainings throughout the months of April, May, and June. So just feel free to sign up for any future trainings on our BE305 website. Um, so I'll just provide a quick little background, an overview of the program, and then I'll talk about some compliance deadlines, and then I'll kick it over to Jeanette from the Touchstone team. So in June of 2021, our City of Miami Commission passed this benchmarking and retuning ordinance. From this ordinance came about the BE305 program, which is implemented by the building department. So for the past 2 years, we've been working with Touchstone IQ, who's an energy and water benchmarking solutions provider, to help us with the implementation of the program. And they've been great so far with helping us educate the building owners. They've been helping us track the reporting and compliance data, as well as managing a help center who's staffed with trained sustainability consultants. Um, so we'll go here to the next slide. So as part of the help desk that Touchstone manages, we've also launched a website which we want to serve as a one-stop shop for all your benchmarking needs and questions. So on there you'll see, and I'll show you guys what the website looks like at the end, but you'll have information on the program, any requirements and compliance dates, frequently asked questions. There's also some how-to guides which will walk you through the entire benchmarking process, as well as training videos that we'll upload after each training. And then you'll have information for any future trainings that you'd like to sign up for. Um, and then on the screen there, like I mentioned, is our website and also our help desk email, benchmarking@miamigov.com. Any questions you may have, you can direct them to that email address and somebody will get back to you in about 24 hours. And then you have the help desk phone number there as well. So those are some very useful resources that you'll be able to use if you have questions. So just to put the program into context, the whole city of Miami, and this program came from the City of Miami's Office of Resilience and Sustainability. So the whole city has a goal of achieving carbon neutrality by 2050 with a 60% reduction from the 2018 levels by year 2035. So like I mentioned, the city has their climate action plan, the Miami Forever Climate Ready Plan. They also have the city's greenhouse gas reduction plan, which is called Miami Forever Carbon Neutral. And then we also have our Resilient 305 strategy, which is a joint strategy with Miami Beach and Miami-Dade County. So all of these strategies contain some sort of measure or action that calls for the development of an energy benchmarking and transparency ordinance. So this is how we came about with this ordinance and the reason why we have it in place. Go to the next slide here. So BE305 in general is meant to improve the efficiency of energy and water usage through tracking, benchmarking, and retuning. So we're seeing that buildings waste up to 30% of energy and water due to inefficiencies and poor operations. Also, poor performing buildings use 4 to 8 times more energy than the best performing buildings. So this presents an enormous energy and cost savings opportunity. So to address this, we're going to focus on the larger buildings, both public and private, residential and commercial. So we're talking about any building in the city that's over 20,000 square feet. would be part of this benchmarking program. Um, and then the city as a whole is already leading on this implementation of this program. So we're benchmarking all of our city buildings across the city, the municipal buildings, regardless of size. So if they're below 20,000, we're already going ahead and jumping the gun and benchmarking those buildings as well. So on the screen here, I just wanted to give on this slide and the next slide just some so visually see how benchmarking has progressed throughout the last few years. So this map right here is from 2020. And back in 2020, there were about 30 or so cities that had some sort of benchmarking or transparency policy in place. And nearly half of those went beyond requiring additional energy efficiency measures. So this is from 2020, and then right here on this next slide, this is from 2023. So we're seeing more and more cities adopt some sort of benchmarking or transparency policy. Right here we have over 45 cities now that have one in place. And as you can see in Florida, Miami and Orlando are the only two cities that have a benchmarking policy in place. So some of the benefits, here that we expect to see for building owners and tenants. So for building owners, an increased asset value of your building, also improving your operating margins, and seeing more tenant retention for your tenants. And then a very unique thing with this is that those property managers or owners, they can compare their buildings to same buildings of the same size or type, using Energy Star portfolio, which we'll talk about later on. And then on the tenant side, just improved indoor air quality and comfort for the tenants, increased tenant satisfaction, and ultimately lower utility bills if some of these measures are implemented to reduce your energy and water usage. And then here on this slide, we just see some examples from other cities that have implemented these benchmarking ordinance. We can see that this led to significant savings in the tens and millions of these mid-sized cities that have a similar population as Miami. So across the board, we're seeing energy consumption go down, and then the savings go up. So on this slide here, we have a distribution of the different tiers of buildings. So we tiered out the compliance dates, which I'll show on the next slide, by building size. So we started off with the larger buildings above 200,000 square feet, and those we have a total of 401. And then we tiered it back down. So then we went 100,000 to 200,000, and then 50,000 to 100,000, and 20,000 to 50,000. So right now we have just under 2,000 buildings in the program, but we do expect that number to increase from year to year as more buildings come online in the city. And then, like I mentioned, here are the current compliance dates. So this year, June 30th, we do expect all buildings over 100,000 square feet to comply with the ordinance. And then later on October 1st, the buildings 50,000 to 100,000 square feet are expected to comply. And that'll be their first year of compliance. For the buildings over 100,000 square feet, this is their second time around. So that'll be their second year of compliance. So they'll be able to measure their energy and water usage compared to the baseline that they established last year. And then just to kind of touch on something here that we've been working with FPL on. So if your building is not master metered, so you have tenants in your building that have their own meters, and you have no access to those, we are working with FPL to create this process for whole building aggregated data. So they do have something in place for this. You would just visit the website there on the screen, and then fill out two forms. There's a energy data request form and a building information template. And then once you have those completed, you'll just email it to that email address on the screen and just give them about 10 business days to process your request. And then they'll send you, your whole building's energy consumption in separated by months, January to December for that year. So here on this next slide, I'll show what the energy usage data request form looks like. Just a pretty straightforward, it'll ask you for your first and last name, your contact information, and then you'll just have to enter in, the FPL account number for your building, the name on your account, and the last 4 digits of your tax ID number. So this is just kind of like a contact information form for them to know that you're the property manager or that they can release the information to you, safely and securely. And then on this next screen is just the other form, the Excel spreadsheet. This is the building information template. So on here, the last column that you see, column G, is optional. We don't expect you to enter or have access to all of the meter numbers in your building, especially if there's a lot of tenants in your building. So that's an optional column, but they do want columns A through F to be filled out as much as possible. So you enter your building address, all the units in your building, and then if you have multiple buildings, just kind of specify, the building numbers that you have on site. And then once you, submit this to that email address and allow the 10 days, you'll receive something that looks like this from FPL. And, like I mentioned, you'll have the building address and then the different months, January being the first month, and then December being the 12th month. And then you'll have there the aggregated or whole building data, separated by months. So yes, so that's all I have for my part. I'm gonna kick it over to Jeanette from Touchstone. She'll walk you through a live demo as well as some more information on exemptions and pathways to compliance. And then we'll have some time for some questions, and maybe we can walk you through some specific examples that you might need some help on. So let me go ahead and promote her to a host, and you can take it away, Jeanette.
All right, thank you, Ronaldo. Hi, everybody. My name is Jeanette Herrera. I will be just doing this presentation for you guys, showing you just a little bit more about Energy Star and on how to create a whole profile here. But let me just share my screen with you. This one. Screen 3. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, perfect. All right, so this is kind of what we're going to go over today. I'm just going to go over the program overview, just how to comply. There are a couple pathways to doing that, an introduction to benchmarking, what you need to benchmark, and what to expect after submitting a benchmarking report to the city. I'll go over a little bit about Energy Star Portfolio Manager. We'll jump into the live demo, which will just cover how to create a profile and how to create those meters that are necessary for the report. We'll come back at the end. We'll wrap it up with some resources to give to you guys, and then a Q&A if you guys have questions to follow up. All right, so BE305, commercial buildings account for 35% of GHG emissions in the city of Miami. The statute was enacted as a part of City of Miami's ongoing goal to reduce greenhouse gas pollution by 60% in 2035. This chart here is just reiterating what Reynaldo has shown to you guys, just some benchmarking deadlines. Buildings above 100,000 square feet must report by June 30th of this year. If your building is between 50,000, it will report in October, and then anything under 50,000 square feet will report next year in October. The goal here is to help Miami building owners understand and track energy use annually and reduce greenhouse gas pollution citywide. So as I mentioned, there are a couple of compliance pathways with the BE305 benchmarking program. The first pathway is doing an annual benchmarking report. This is a typical pathway toward compliance. This says when you create an Energy Star profile and upload your energy and water usage. Reporting is done online through Energy Star. And submitting the initial report is the most time consuming, but moving forward with the annual process, it becomes more simple and quick. The second compliance pathway is requesting an exemption. To submit a valid approved exemption request form for the current reporting year, we have an exemption link which could be found on our website, benchmark305.com. Exemptions are only valid for one reporting year and must be submitted each year if still applicable. Details for benchmarking exemptions can be found in our ordinance as well, so we have a link for that, and it's also on our website. A few examples of something that we would accept as an exemption is if you did not have a certificate of occupancy or had a demolition permit in the 12 months in the prior calendar year. This is typical, there are a bunch of new builds in Miami, and so this would be a situation where you would submit an exemption for something like this. The property did not receive energy or water service for the entire 12 months of the prior calendar year. This would be, for instance, for the 2024 reporting year, we're looking for you to report your 2023 energy and water data. And so if you didn't have a full 12 months of data from 2023, you would apply for an exemption here. And then a property less than 50% occupied in the last 12 months in the prior calendar year. So something similar, if your occupancy was low, less than 50%, you would apply for an exemption. Yep, and like I said, more details are going to be in our ordinance. A link to our ordinance is on our website as well. All right, what is benchmarking? Benchmarking, it's a widely adopted practice for tracking the energy performance of a building over time by measuring a building's energy use and comparing it to the average consumption of similar buildings. Owners and occupants can better understand their building's relative energy performance and identify opportunities to cut energy waste. The benefits of benchmarking, it allows owners and occupants to understand their building's relative performance. It helps identify opportunities to cut energy and save money, and it improves our health and ensures resource security. What do we need to report? The first one is going to be creating an Energy Star portfolio account, which we'll be going over in the demo today. You will need to grab building information, so add your property and enter your building's information, just what was going on during the 23 reporting year. And then you need a Miami building ID. Each building is assigned a unique ID required for reporting. This could be found in the letter that you received, your initial notice to comply. And there are resources. There is a website where you can go ahead and look up your building ID, which I will show you guys in the demo here to see. If you don't know your building ID, we do have a tool for that. You will need your building's energy usage. It's the energy and water usage for the whole building. And so as Ronaldo was reviewing, you can go ahead and request that from your utility providers, and they will send back the whole building aggregated usage from the previous year. Once you've created a profile, added your ID, and added your energy and water usage, you will then submit your report to the city. We have a 2024 benchmarking submission link for you to complete this. And like we've mentioned, the benchmarking reports are due June 30th, 2024 for some, and then for the first year reporters, which is the buildings between 50,000 and 100,000, your report will be due October 1st. And it is the same reporting link. So after you've submitted your report, there are two things to expect after submission. The city will process your report overnight. You'll receive an email the following morning stating if your building is in compliance. This is an example of a compliance email. If your report is error-free and approved, this is the email that you receive, and no further action is needed for this year. So this is just an example of a compliance email. The other example, the email that you could receive the following day is if your building is in pending revisions. If your report contains errors, is missing information, or exhibits a drastic change in usage when compared to a previous year's report, it's a possibility for you to receive this pending revisions email. To bring your building into compliance, you must correct the errors and resubmit your report, or you could simply just respond to that email, which goes to the help desk, and provide an explanation for whichever error is stated there in the email. This here is an example of having an abnormally high score. When your building is in pending revisions, I do want to note that it does not necessarily mean that your report is incorrect. Whenever we kind of see something like an abnormally high score, it's just taking what the average usage of the country is. And if yours kind of sits a little bit below that average or a little bit above that average, you'll receive this email. But like I said, a quick explanation to the help desk explaining the operations of your building, we can go ahead and bypass that for you and move your building into compliance. All right, what is Energy Star? Energy Star, it's a free online tool offered by the EPA. It's used to measure and track energy and greenhouse gas emissions. It also allows owners to benchmark the performance of their buildings, and you compare against other similar buildings and past performance. More than 250,000 commercial properties use Portfolio Manager. Above 80 unique property types. Some examples are schools, hospitals, offices, retail stores. It provides your energy use intensity, also known as EUI. It can provide your annual energy use per square foot. It calculates a score of 1 to 100. Buildings with a score over 75 can earn Energy Star certification if you apply. And on average, Energy Star certified buildings use 35% less energy. All right, guys, thanks for listening. I'm going to now go ahead and jump into the demo version of our presentation here. Does anyone have any questions so far? If you do, you can also just go ahead and submit it in the chat, and we'll get to you as well near the end. Sure, we have someone who just raised their hand.
Hi, I'm Felipe. I have a question regarding what to expect once we submit all the energy bills and the water bills. Assuming that we don't have any error, what do we expect? Because the system, well, I did it actually. I don't know if I did it correctly, but the system just showed me a chart and that's it. I don't have any other confirmation or a report or something like that.
Yes.
So
Yeah, good question. Okay, so what to expect after benchmarking? The report is sent to the city, and that is processed overnight. And so what you will do is get one of two options the following morning from the city of Miami, and it's going to either be an email saying that your building is in compliance, or if your building is pending revisions. And so I recommend just seeing maybe if you received any of these two emails. If not, you can always go ahead and contact the help desk, letting them know what your building ID is, and they'll look up your compliance status if it's already submitted.
and that email that we should receive is the one that we use when we register, when we sign up to the portfolio manager.
Yes, it's going to be sent to that email. And I definitely recommend checking your junk or spam folders as well. Unfortunately, that does tend to end up there whenever automated emails go out. And so just be sure to check that. If you still don't see it, we can go ahead and give you the help desk email again. We can reach out. We can look up your building's your status.
All right, great. Thank you. I
You're
will see the demonstration and let you know if I have further questions.
Sounds good. I see Anna has a quick question before we jump into the demo. Yes, Anna, if you have a question, you can ask now, or I'll start the demo and we can wait for.
Yeah, my question is, sorry, we submit the information through the system, but I received back on a letter abnormally low energy star score. We check the information, but everything is okay. We send all we made the send step last send step like last year, the past year. I would like to know how can I do? We need to wait for any review to confirm if everything is okay, because we are worried because I received a lower energy star score.
Sure. So if you're confirming that your energy data is coming directly from your providers, you can confirm that all of that information is correct. Go ahead, respond to that email, which goes to the help desk, and they will be able to review your explanation. And if everything looks good, they'll move your building into compliance.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Yeah, the help desk is a good tool. Just reach out to them with any questions anytime. You guys, are worried about your reports or your status, they'll go ahead and respond to you with those resources you need. Okay, now jumping into our live demo. This is going to be mostly for first-time reporters. We're going to go over how to create an account, create buildings and meters and all the good stuff needed to submit your benchmarking report. All right, so this energystar.gov/benchmark, this is the site that it brings you to. You can go ahead and log in through here on the right side, create an account, which you click here. This will just ask you your information about yourself, your email, your organization, and just like all the things necessary to create an account. And given that I already have one created, we're just gonna go ahead and jump into there. After you have created your account, this is the main dashboard for Energy Star. So let's see here. From a high level, benchmarking is a 3-step process. One of them is the first step is adding a property. The second step is adding your meters. And then the third step is adding your energy and water consumption to those meters. I'm just going to walk you guys through these tabs here on Energy Star. And so to review the top right toolbar, the account settings up here. Oh, sorry, locked me out. Oh. Okay, going back home. So go into the account settings. This is where you can adjust your contact information, your password, and set up web services. The notifications tab is going to be where you'll see your sharing requests from other portfolio manager accounts. The Energy Star notifications tab, there are alerts from Energy Star, such as score changes or utility connection opportunities. The contacts are where you can add or delete contacts. You'll need to typically add folks as a contact before you submit a sharing request to them. The help tab here is very useful. Energy Star provides FAQs, video training tutorials. You can ask them a question if there's anything ever wrong with Energy Star. And then, the sign out button. So going back home, this first tab right here, the My Portfolio tab, this is where you see your dashboard and your properties. This is where you can add new properties and transfer properties to other owners if you sell your building. As you can see here, I have 3 buildings under my account, so you can it'll list all your properties on the right-hand side here. The sharing tab is where you can share properties with other portfolio manager accounts. Like I said before, this is after you've added them as a contact from up here. The reporting tab, this is an important tab. This is where you'll come after you've added all of your building's information and all of the energy and water usage. The reporting tab is where you'll come and use the data requests specifically for that city, and you will submit your benchmarking report through that request. Lastly, the recognition tab provides information on Energy Star, recognition for various building types, and as well as shows past certification applications. All right, now that we've kind of gone through the basics of the Energy Star site, we are now going to go through a 3-step process. So the first being adding a property. Let's go ahead and click add a property. You're going to select your building type. As you remember from our presentation, there are above 80 usage types. So you just go ahead and scroll to see which one is relative to your building. For today's presentation, I'm going to be adding an office. Your properties building, for today, I'm going to say this is my property is one single building here. And then I'm going to go ahead and say this is a test property. It's not a real property. But when you are creating your profile, you'll be selecting it as an existing property. Your property is built, occupied, and are being used. So let's get started here. All right, so let's go ahead and fill this out. I'm gonna go ahead and name this Miami Demo. Let's make up an address, 123 Miami Drive. Oh, or Miami Street, okay. Miami, Florida. 33133. You're going to add your building's information. So the year that it was built, we can just say a random year here. For today's sake, given that the buildings between 50,000 and 100,000 are due in October 1st, I'm just going to go ahead and create a building that is 50,000 square feet. All right, for irrigated, you can use 0 here unless you plan to use a separate outdoor water meter, or it's not required. Oops. Did not mean to do that, sorry. It is not required. See, there's no asterisk next to it, so you can leave it blank. For occupancy, it's typically 90% to 100. It wouldn't impact your Energy Star score unless it is below 50% occupancy. And let's just say we're at 100% here. Now, this is very important. This is where you will add your Miami building ID. And so if you see here the standard ID for the city and town ordinances, you'll go ahead and use this drop down. Scroll down to where you see Miami ID, which is right here. Miami IDs, they all begin with the capital letter M, and it's followed by 5 numeric integers. And so for today, I'm just going to say my building ID is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just M9999. You can select here, this box down here says, do any of these apply? You know, if your property's energy consumption includes parking areas, just select whichever ones apply to you. For today, I will not be selecting any of these, but we'll go ahead and click continue. All right, so now it's kind of ask you your building's operations. Whenever you are filling this out, just make sure to not change any of these dates here. If you ever want to go edit, you can edit them, but just add any of the values that you enter, but it's just important that these dates are not changed. It's just going to be essentially the first day of the year the building was built. All right, so for weekly operating hours for an office building, typically we can say it's probably just going to be like a 60-hour work week, number of hours on the main shift. Let's see here, we could put 9 hours. Number of workers, sorry, excuse me. The number of workers, so like we're gonna say maybe about 80 people work here during a given day. And then the number of computers, usually it's a 1-to-1 value of how many workers are in that building. So we're just gonna go ahead and say 80 computers following the 80 workers. The percent that can be cooled, there's a drop down here, typically 50% or more. Percent that can be heated, typically 50% or more, or not heated. This might be relative to a lot of Miami buildings, so let's just say less than 50%. All right, now we're going to add our property. Perfect, we have created our property. If I go back home to the My Portfolio dashboard, you will now see that Miami Demo is on our list of buildings here. You can to go back to that page, you just navigate and click on the name of the building that you gave it. All right. Before I jump into the next step of adding a meter, I do want to just go over these tabs here so we can understand a little bit more about what's going on. The summary tab is the landing page for this particular property, and it shows your Energy Star score. Whenever after you add your energy and water usage, your score will show up right up here in this box. Right now, there is no score because we have no data in there. All right, your details tab. This is going to be where you can show your building use details. It's something that we just went over. For instance, if you use this caret drop down, it's going to show you all of the information that we just filled out. When creating your building, you can always come back to edit it, and to do that, you would just use this this drop down right here, and you'll edit your use details, which will take you to the page to edit. Okay. This is also where you can add your building ID on the left-hand side here. You'll click edit. And if you did not have your building ID at the time of creating the building, you can come back, add it here any moment, or edit it. Okay. The energy tab. This is where you're going to come and create your meters for your electric and your gas meters. Same for the water tab. It has its own tab. You'll do the same. You'll add a meter and add your water usage here. If you're benchmarking waste and materials, this is where you'll create that meter, but it is not required in the Miami reports. The goals tab is where you can set goals for your specific property. And lastly, design tab. This is what you would use if you were designing a building that you wanted to meet Energy Star standards in the future. All right, so now that we've gone through that, I'm just going to now head on over to the energy tab. For today's demo, we'll be creating an electric and a gas meter. So what you'll do here is add a meter. We're going to select electric, purchase from the grid, and a gas meter. Now, on this page here, there's just a few things you need to do. I usually tend to want to rename my meters. For instance, I just name it the utility provider. You can go ahead, yeah, once you click on it, you can edit. What's required here is choosing the units of your meter. And so using this drop down, you'll click on whichever one matches the units on your bill. Typically for a gas bill, it's going to say that the units are in therms, and then for electric, your units will be in kilowatt hours. All right, and then the last thing you have to do here is just date that the meter became active. And so given that we are looking for your usage from the 2023 calendar year, and if this is your first time reporting, you wanted to cover the entire calendar year of 2023. So we're going to say that our first bill date is January 1st of 23. This is also, you're able to edit this if you need to after you create it. So don't worry about this in the moment if you plan on changing it. All right, so then you'll create a meter. I'm going to go ahead and click continue. All right, so as you see, these two meters are created. Before we apply our selections, we want to list whether the meter accounts for the total consumption of the whole building, or if it does not account for the total consumption and it's just, you're only reporting, common areas. Given that you're going to be requesting your information directly from your utility providers, they give you the consumption for the whole building. And so you'll be selecting this first one. All right, now that we apply, we have created our meters. So now as you see here on the energy tab, we have meter for electric and our meter for gas. You'll follow the same steps here for water. It asks you just similar questions. You and can just create the meter and upload your data there. All right, so now that we've created our meter, we're gonna move on to the last step, which is adding your consumption to this meter. So let's go ahead and use FPL as an example. If you guys remember from Ronaldo's presentation, he showed you an example of what FPL would send back to you. Essentially, what they send is 12 months of data starting from January and the usage for that specific month. And so there are two ways to upload your that data that they send you. The first is going to be uploading it directly on this meter. And so let's do an example here. When you click to add an entry, the start date, typically, like I said, is going to be the first of the year, and it just automatically will kind of populate the next month. And so what you could do is add another entry and continue adding it until it reaches December of 23. Because I want the data from the calendar year of 23, I like to go ahead and change this last date to just the very last day of 23, just so it's consistent, starting from the first day, ends on the last day. Okay. I see that people are raising their hands. We're going to wait to answer all questions at the end of our presentation here. We can always come back. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to do the 31st. All right, so let's say that FPL sent you that information in a document. It's going per month. You can go ahead and just manually enter your data. As you can see here, when you click on it, you can enter whatever that data is that they sent you. Just manually doing all of this here and copying, pasting what they gave you in that document. For the sake, we're just going to pretend we had the same usage all year long. Okay. All right. Once you've entered all your data, all you need to do is just save your bills. And it's saved. That's one way to do it directly through the meter. Another way is adding it through the spreadsheet method. And so let's do an example of that on the gas meter. All right. So let's say we have gas and where we were given that usage per month from the gas provider. You can go ahead and use a spreadsheet method, which is right here. You download the spreadsheet. You click on this right here. We're going to open up what that spreadsheet is showing us. Let me know if you're able. Can you see the spreadsheet? Just want to make sure.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So this essentially is just copying what is being shown right here. Same column, same rows. And so you have the option of just filling out that information. Sometimes it might be easier. Oops. It might be easier to do the spreadsheet just because it's faster to copy and paste from what your provider gave you under the usage. Under the usage column here. So you would do the same thing, 23. And then 2, 1. And then 2, 1 here. Typically we can just, let's see, do this and then see if it's that faster way to do that. Okay, you guys get the gist. You would fill this all out. You would then fill out your usage here and go all the way down to December. These 3 columns are required, and the last 2 are not required. They are optional. You put the cost in here, or if it's an estimated value, excuse me, you would use this drop down and click yes or no. After you fill out the spreadsheet, what you would do is go ahead and upload it. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and let's see if I can try to make this a little bit faster and see. Nope, okay. Let me fill this out really quickly. I just do want to show you guys how quick it is to upload this document once we finish filling it out. 21, 23. For those of you who don't have the contact information to the utility providers, that is also on our website. There's a utility data tab that can take you to the contact information. You can go ahead and request that information from the utility providers. Also on there, you can go ahead and find the forms to FPL, like Ronaldo was showing you, so you guys can go ahead and get that data. Okay. Let's try to do this. All right, I'm gonna do is save my document here. And I'm gonna go ahead and go back to upload it. Once you finish filling everything out, you'll go ahead and choose your file. Like, well, let me see. One, okay. You select the file you want to upload. Oops. Upload here. And there we go. It's same process, but it might be easier if you just want to copy and paste everything into a spreadsheet first, and it'll just quickly upload that information for you. We'll go ahead and save our bills. And then you have your data in both meters. You can always check to see what the graph looks like. So if we're going back to the page, going into your energy tab, it forms a graph here. So you'll see the chart, refresh it. And then it'll show you your data. We had the same usage the whole year, so this is a straight line. This pretty much concludes our portion of the demo. We've learned how to create an account, how to add a property, how to add meters, and how to add consumption to those meters. Before we go ahead and wrap up, these are some resources that we just wanted to share with you guys again. It's our website, our contact information. I just want to mention everything that I walked with you guys through. It's in our how-to guide, which can be found on our website. And we also have how-to videos that breaks it up for you for each step. We can check out ordinance as well, our exemption forms, and the GHG plan as well. It's all on our website. I will go ahead and just walk you through a little bit that here. You can find your building ID on benchmark305.com. You could submit your report through this link, check out our ordinance, sign up for future trainings. We have the link to our how-to guide as well, right here. And then if you want to submit your exemption, this is where you would do that as well. Just a bunch of resources for you guys, our contact information, everything that you needed. Like Ronaldo said, it's a one-stop shop for all things needing to comply with our benchmarking ordinance. All right, thank you guys. I'm gonna leave this here. If you guys have any questions, now is the time to go over any questions that you guys had. Let's see, I'm looking through the chat. Will you be sending the presentation to us by email? Yes, we will. Okay, perfect. Ronaldo mentioned that. Let's see. Okay, perfect. Ronaldo's been answering your guys' questions in the chat.
Yes, actually, I have a question. I raised the hand.
Yes, go ahead.
Uh, could we go back to the meters area when we start to meeting the the watts
Yes,
or the CF, please?
yes. Sorry, this is lagging. Okay, so this is the energy tab. Is this where you were talking about, where we get the
Yes.
meter?
Yes. Could you go to the enter your bills?
Uh-huh.
All right. I have a question regarding the date. That date do not match with the one with the bills. It should match or it shouldn't.
So with the bills, if you're entering your information directly from your bills, we understand that typically it's mid-month. And so what you need to do is, like let's say if the first bill is starts January 15th and February 15th, in order to make sure that you have the entire calendar year, you will need to get one more month from the month before. So it'll have to be the December 15th to January 15th bill, the one right before it, to make sure that it is covering the entire calendar year. So same
All right.
thing for the end of the year. If the last bill ends December 15th, you will need to then get the next month of December 15th to January 15th. And so,
All,
yeah, it just has to cover the whole year. So essentially, you'll just have to grab two more bills to cover that year.
all right. That's great. That's not an issue. Thank you. And the other
Yes.
question is the. Sorry, I forgot. Give me a second. Yeah. All right. Got it. Once we were done with submitting all the information,
Mhm.
when we are going to expect the email, or is there any other step that we should do? Like, I don't know, maybe a button that we submit, or we click saying we are
Oh,
done for the year, or
yes, yeah. Once you submit your report, reports are received overnight. And so the following morning, look out for an email from the city, letting you know whether your building is in compliance or if it is pending revisions. So if you do not receive that email, just make sure to check your spam folder, or your junk folder, because that will show you your next step. It will either tell you that there is no further action needed from you, or if we just have some follow-up questions. So it's the
oh,
next day after submitting.
oh, that's great. And that email will arrive once if we change some data. For instance, I will need to change the last month because I messed up. I will receive the email again, or
That is only if there are ever any changes in your report made, just be sure to resubmit the report to us. Because if you make changes and it's not resubmitted, we're not able to see those changes. And so same thing. Once changes are made and you submit, the following day of your second submission, you will receive an email.
all right. And when you said submit is when we click on the save button at the end.
Yes, you'll submit for using the reporting tab. And so that's the last step to this process. So you'll go ahead and submit using the correct, see right here, 2024 BE305 benchmarking data request link. We have instructions on our website on how to do this. It's in our guide, and there's a video tutorial as well showing you how to submit. But like I said, every time you submit, you receive an email the next day. And if there's anything that you have to change, just go ahead and resubmit so we can receive those changes.
That's actually what I was missing. I haven't submit. I didn't have idea that I have to do that. So where can I see the video so I can know how to submit?
The videos are on, I believe, on this tab, on benchmark305.com. You will go ahead, it's gonna be right here. So on the how to comply tab, we have the how-to guide, which is that guide tells you how to submit. And we also have these benchmarking how-to videos. So if you click all videos, there's something that gives you an overview of the program, tells you how to create an account, how to add a property, and then our last video would be how to submit your data.
The one
You
that
also
says
have-
how to run the data, that's the one that should have the
Uh-huh.
information regarding
correct.
submitting. Oh, that's great. Thank you very much. That's all I needed,
Yeah,
actually.
no worries. Yeah, no, our website has all the great resources. We have some recorded trainings as well to review if you guys need to. Our FAQs as well. There are many questions here that we've answered. As you can see, it's long. And then there's information for building owners. There's the questions regarding Energy Star and questions regarding benchmarking requirements. All right. There's also information for utility data. Like we've mentioned, this is where you'll get data for your building. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions? Oh, I did want to, before I forget, whenever I was talking about getting your Miami building ID, there is, if you go home, this link here, how to find your building ID. It takes you to buildingid.touchdoneiq.com. You can go ahead and search your building address, and it'll populate a bunch of options for you. I guess it kind of ends up finding similar addresses, but once you find your building address, it'll show you your building ID. So this is if you're ever questioning where to find your building ID, it's right here. We also have a map. This is a very useful tool. I really love showing building owners this tool that we've made. Once you click on the map, it'll show you the Miami area. There's a little legend here telling you what the colors mean. If you also don't ever know if your building has to comply or if you're looking for your building ID, you can search by building ID here. Let's look at this building. It takes you directly to that building. And it'll tell you your compliance status as well. So another way to check if you're also wanting confirmation instead of just an email, you can come here, look up your building ID and confirm by checking the status, like this green one here. You would look it up. It'll tell you your status is in compliance, as well as information about your building. And so you can toggle it by different reporting years. And kind of keep track of your buildings this way. So this is like a nice visual representation of your compliance status. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions? We are at our hour mark here, so I just want to make sure if you have any, we can speak up here. Looking at the chat. See Reynaldo's answering questions. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Yeah, I'm gonna share just really quick an example of the scorecard just so folks can kind of see what they'll receive once they come into compliance. So let me pull that up. Actually, can you promote me to host, Jeanette? I think
Yes.
you just press the three little dots next to my name.
Let's see. Sorry, I'm looking for you here. Make host. All right, you should be good now.
Okay, so let me pull up the scorecard. right here. Okay, so yeah, so once you come into compliance, you'll receive that email saying you're in compliance, and then usually these scorecards here on the screen will send out at the beginning of the year. So this January we sent out the scorecards for the previous year. So you'll have a lot of information here about your building, the time frame that it's for, your ID number, square footage, year built. And then here you'll just have information that you can track over time and be able to compare to your previous years. And then something really neat is that you can compare your building to other buildings of the same type and use. So you can compare your energy here on the first page, see how much greenhouse gas emissions your building is giving off. And then on the last page, you'll have the water usage compared to other buildings, and then some key resources here, such as any financing opportunities within the utilities. And then you'll also have other links to our greenhouse gas reduction plan and our annual report for the BE305 program. So a very neat thing that we do send out once your building does come into compliance. So you should expect to receive this January of the following year that you comply. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. So yeah, so it's 2:06. If anyone does not have any other questions, please, if you do have any from now till it's time to submit, just please email our help desk at benchmarking@miamigov.com, and they'll be able to answer any of your questions. I know some of you have reached out to me directly. That's okay. I'm willing to help as much as I can also. But yeah, we're here to help you out and assist you. If you want to sign up for any future trainings, you know where to sign up. And yeah, thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing your submissions.
All right, thank you guys as well. You guys have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.